If you're ready. It's a good sweater. Good to see everybody's smiling faces again. It's been a while. Man, of course I did.
Good morning, everybody. A lot of you were here yesterday when we had this same format, but we have both obviously in-person and Zoom availability today. So if you're here in person, raise your hand. We will get you a microphone. Please identify yourself by name and affiliation. Up or go straight to questions?
I want to go straight to questions.
Okay. Let's start here on the aisle. George Stoya.
George Stoya, Center Scoop. Ben, this time off, what has that done for you guys? How beneficial has this time off in terms of the offense working on maybe some stuff that you guys want to get better at?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, it's really allowed us, the season's long, play a lot of games, get banged up a lot. I think the first thing that's allowed us to do is just really get our legs and our bodies back underneath us from a strength and conditioning standpoint, from a rehab standpoint. And I think what it's really allowed us to do is attack the things that we're really good at, attack those things, and then really develop and build things that we know we need to be able to do in order to go win, doing what winning requires. And the big thing about practice is you hadn't really played a lot of ball in the last 2.5 weeks. So overemphasizing your pad level, your physicality, your ball security whenever you're out there at practice, those are just little things that could creep in into a game that you want to make sure that you take care of just because you haven't played football for a long time. And so we've been able to do a lot of reflection, a lot of developing, and at the same time building upon things that we feel like we're really good at.
First row, right side, Jenny.
Ben, I don't know what to do with this, so I'm just going to ask you.
Okay.
Basically, since the Ole Miss game, you guys have had 5 pass plays of 39 yards or more, but you've only had 4 of 25 yards between that distance. You're very explosive at the top end, but don't have a lot of the intermediate stuff. What is that with the offense, sort of maybe not having the intermediate pass play, but also having that explosive ability in this offense?
Yeah, we have to do a better job at executing whenever we get downfield, putting the ball in a catchable spot for the receivers creating separation from DBs, holding up in pass protection. We have to do a really good job of schematically getting guys open too. And so there's a lot that goes into that intermediate realm so we can get run after the catch, get those guys operational space whenever they have the ball in their hand. But one thing that I think our guys have shown to do is whenever they get the ball and they get running, I mean, they can really stretch the field and take it the distance. And so we just have to continue getting better at those moments, those aspects of the game. And, that's been something that I think we've stressed a good deal on the last 2.5 weeks. And, but, yeah, we just have to continue developing all that and finding the situations whenever we can attack that certain area and make it count.
Okay, we'll go first row, right side, Mason Young in the middle.
Mason Young, Tulsa World. Ben, I'm wondering you talked about the rehab side of this break, and I'm wondering what the time off has done for guys like Xavier Robinson, Torrey Blaylock. How much better do you think they're feeling going into this playoff compared to the things that they've been playing through?
Yeah, well, those two dudes are really, really tough, so I don't think they would tell you any different. They'd say they're just ready to play. But it's just been good being able to get them out there, maybe take a little bit off their body, maybe with either a shorter practice here or there, or we have days in vests where there's just not a whole lot of physical contact going on. But, just being able to rest and relax a little bit and get into the training room at a high clip and get in the cold tub and getting red light therapy and everything that goes into rehab, I think it's just really going to help their body, help their mindset too. Just something about feeling good. You play good too, and so I'm excited for the rehab that they've been able to get, how we've been able to take care of their bodies as well as everybody else's body, and I'm excited to finally be back in game week and get to go watch these guys play again.
Okay, next to Mason, we'll go to Colton Sully.
Colton Sully, the Oklahoman. Yeah, Ben, I know this season has been frustrating at times, and I know you'd love to score 40 points a game, but how validating is it that your guys have sort of found ways to win when it matters most? And then also, maybe what's one thing that you've learned in your first season here as play caller?
Yeah, I mean, first thing I'm going to say, I think frustration is just relative. I mean, at the end of the day, we're 10-2. We're in the college football playoff with an unbelievable opportunity to continue playing football, and we have unreal kids in our locker room who have attacked every single day. And so first and foremost, that's where I'm at. I'm fired up that our kids have this opportunity to continue playing. They keep on finding ways to win. But I'm excited. I'm excited for them. I'm excited for the opportunity. I'm excited for the opportunity that they have taken over the last 2.5 weeks to continue to get better. I mean, that's a lot of football. That's a lot of good practicing. That's a lot of good development for younger guys in the program for the future. It's really good development for our current guys who want to go do something special. And so excited, proud of the way the guys battled this season. I'm excited to watch them keep battling.
Let's go to Barry Trammell.
Barry Trammell, Tulsa World. Ben, I don't know what your history is with rematches. College, we're going to have more of them, but we don't have them too often. What's this 2 weeks been like? Game planning for a team that you beat 6 weeks ago, or a month ago, and you had some success, some other stuff not worked. Do you go to the stuff that worked? Do you look for new stuff? How do you even approach a rematch like this?
Yeah, I haven't had a whole lot of rematches. I've had a few, but I haven't had a whole lot. I think the first thing you got to do is you got to see what you did well and why did you do it well. You know, what did the defense do in order for you to do that really, really well? How did we execute in those moments to do things really well? But ultimately, you have to take back and look at that game and look, okay, why were they doing certain things in these certain situations? All right, well, how can we counteract that? How can we attack that a different way? Or do we need to execute better in moments and situations? And that's really kind of how you have to look at it. But you can't just go in and do the same thing. I mean, that'd be like malpractice as a coach. And so, just finding different ways to put these guys in different positions to be successful, in different modes and methods to make them successful is how you really have to go about whenever you play a rematch and you're looking to attack and get after it on the offensive side. And so, and those guys over there, they're great coaches. Kane Womack, he's an unbelievable coach. He does such a great job. He puts those guys in great positions to be successful. And so, inversely, we have to do an even better job of that. We have to do everything that we can to ensure success for our guys, and that comes through schematics, that comes through demanding details in practice, demanding focus in practice, demanding execution in practice, and ultimately all of that is a culmination that builds confidence into our kids to go out there and attack and play fast. So again, love the 2.5 weeks of work that we've had, and I'm excited to get to Friday.
Okay, same side, second row, middle, Ryan Chapman.
Ryan Chapman, just how tough is it to maintain rhythm and timing when you have a 3-week break with especially the short passing game? And then for John, not that he said to rebuild confidence, but he's done such a good job taking care of the ball up until the LSU game. How good was this for him to kind of just flush that and get back to what he was doing previously in November?
Yeah, I mean it's been great. You almost peel it back to fall camp over the last 2.5 weeks. You're still getting ready for an opponent and everything like that, but you really get to dial in on the basics of concepts of defensive structure, of footwork, of timing. And so that's been great to just get even more developmental reps at that. But, you have to be creative and artful in how you set up practice, because we haven't played football in quite a while. You have to be really artful in how you go about practicing, almost making it feel like game operation, game feel out there, just so they continue to stay in the flow of things. You're not just going out there and running plays, just finding different ways to be creative, to put those guys in the moment of a game that, hey, this is the most important moment we have today because it's this moment in the game. And, there's an art to it, and you have to be creative with it. And the kids have been awesome throughout these weeks of practice, buying into the different kind of structures of practice. And Coach Venables has done a great job of setting up a few good-on-goods here in practice just to really kind of make it game-like and have that true game feel. And so, been taking steps to try and keep that game cadence, if you would. And, kids have been awesome.
Okay, let's go to third row, Cliff.
Yeah, Cliff Brutt, Associated Press. Obviously, John Mateers can be a bit of a risk taker sometimes, but as Ryan said, he's been better with ball security lately. Obviously, ball security is going to be very critical in a playoff game. Yeah. How do you balance the John Mateer, who's a bit of a risk taker and does some really good things for you at times, with the need to be strong in the ball security aspect of things?
Yeah, I think it comes down to just taking your layups. There's a basketball reference for you. I mean, just taking the layups, taking the easy stuff whenever it's there, not trying to make something if it's not there, just making your smart decisions, whether it's in the run game, the RPO game, or the drop back pass game, maybe try not to force something, find a check down, something of that sort. You just have to be really intentional with every rep that you get out in practice to build kind of a, I don't know, I keep on saying the word cadence, but you have to build a rhythm and a cadence to the quarterback position. And everyone knows there's moments in the football game where you have to go make a play. Sometimes it's not there. All right, well, you have to go make it. You have to go do whatever you can to execute in that moment, in that situation. And I think John's been really good, in the last month that we played football, of taking care of the ball and of taking easy layups. Can he always be better? Absolutely. But just over these last, couple weeks of practice, just really harping on the taking the easy, taking the basics, taking the layups, while also protecting the football. And that's for everybody on the team. I mean, the amount of ball security that we've been doing, again, because it's just stuff that creeps up, right? It's stuff that creeps up if you leave it by the wayside and you don't think about it. And so those little things are just really important, and we try and attack it every day, specifically with John, but with everybody on the offense also.
Stay in the third row, James.
James Hales, OKC Sports Radio. Ben, talk about Alabama's defense. That was a pretty tough situation. The first game, you managed to win the game, but talk about what they do and how good of a defense it really is.
Again, Coach Womack, schematically, he does a really good job of putting them in position to be successful, and really does his absolute best to stress whatever call that you might have on. He does a great job of that. But on the flip side too, you have to look at the players. They execute it. They're in position. You can tell that they're really in tune with Coach Womack and what his vision of the defense is. And then, they got guys that make it go on that side of the ball too, just from full body of work of the season, whether it's crossover film or when we played them, or reflecting on the game when we played them, or game planning for this one. You think of guys like Bray Hubbard. I mean, he kind of shows up all over the film. He's an awesome player. They ask him to do quite a bit of stuff, and he doesn't turn anything down. And linebacker Lawson, he holds it down there in the front seven, does a great job in the box, does a great job whenever it's pass of getting out and just finding his way into throwing lanes. And that's the case for a lot of the players they have, but those two really stick out in my head as guys that just, they're asked to do a lot, and the coach has trust in them. But again, they try to put you in some really tough situations, and their guys go around and fly around and execute it. So they do a great job.
Then come to the left side on the aisle, Jesse.
Jesse Crittenden, OU Insider. Ben, it feels like in a lot of these games and in critical moments, Isaiah and John have been able to connect for big plays. Just what do you attribute maybe the way that dynamic has developed through the course of the season, and is that something you can kind of lean on going into the playoff?
Yeah, absolutely. They have a great chemistry about them, and they've had a great chemistry about them since they both showed up in January. I think they have very similar mindsets when it comes to the work, whenever it comes to practice, and just their competitive nature. I think they're both elite competitors. And so whenever you take details and it goes to execution, and then you add really good just ability that they have, good things seem to happen, and they have a great chemistry about them. John always seems to know where Isaiah is going to be, what he's going to do, and Isaiah's done a great job of making some really big-time plays this year for us, and doing a lot of special things with the ball after the catch. And so, again, it's those two kids. They put in the work, and, they show up.
Let's go to Bob.
Prisbilla, Sooner Scoop. Ben, now that signing day is over, I want to talk about Bo Bentley for a second here.
Okay. There we go.
It's clear once you arrived here, you identified him as the guy that you really wanted for the 2026 quarterback class. So what did you love so much about him, and what did it mean for him to be committed and be the foundation of the class throughout the summer?
Yeah, before I even knew Bo or anything, I love winners. And up until just a couple days ago in their state semifinal playoff game, Bo had never lost. I think he was 29-0 or something. before losing to, I think it was Stephenville the other day, 24-21 with a field goal with 2 seconds left on the clock. And so I love winners and I love competitors. And it was really easy to see in Bo's film that he was a elite competitor, really loved to put the team on his back, whether it was throwing the ball or running the ball. And then once you get to know the kid and you get to know his story and you get to know his family, just the work ethic that he has that's been instilled in him, the competitive nature that he has, and just the overall good human being that he is. I mean, you know, it was one of those things that said, okay, he fits OU, he fits what I want to do offensively. He's a great kid, and yeah, excited to have him part of the OU family.
Okay, next to Bob, let's go to Josh.
Josh McDaniel, OU Daily. Ben, I just want to go deeper into John's focus going into this game.
Okay.
How's his mindset been out of this matchup?
Yeah, I think John's really excited. I mean, as a kid who is from the Metroplex, who's grown up loving football his entire life, I mean, the college football playoffs have been around long enough now. He's probably in middle school or something whenever the first one happened. And so just being able to grow up and see the special teams and special players that have gotten to play in it and knowing what it takes to get into that moment and into that situation, I think really excites him, you know, just from being a football enthusiast. But as a competitor, you know, there's a reason John Mateer came to OU. He wants to be the best. He wants to play at the best. He wants to compete against the best. And he's never once lost sight of that. And, you know, going into this playoff, I mean, yeah, his mindset's been laser focused, locked in, understanding what needs to be done to win, and go that way moving forward from an individual standpoint, from a leader standpoint, a leader of the masses out there, just, you know, whether it's extra walkthroughs or just being a little bit more dialed in, detailed at practice on something, you know, he understands that moment and he's excited for it. So I'm excited for him.
Okay, we'll go second row middle. Kerry.
Kerry Murdoch from Center Scoop. Ben, what have you appreciated about Brent, watching him this year? And I mean, the 4-game win streak to end the year, coming back after Ole Miss, now being in the playoffs. Every offensive coordinator that's been at Oklahoma that's had success has gone on to be a head coach. I'm sure you take notes on what you see from head coaches. What have you appreciated most about him?
His unwavering leadership, his unwavering standard, and his unwavering commitment to being great. Those three things right there. I mean, he lives it every single day in everything that he does, and it's not hard to see. I mean, you just have to have your eyes open and you see it. And he's an incredible example of what being a leader is, battling through adversity is, putting his head down, working, and ultimately getting an entire team and an entire program pulling the rope in the same direction. And just an incredible motivator, and has everybody believing like no one I've ever seen. So that's what I appreciate about Coach Venables.
Okay, Coach, we're going to go to a question via Zoom. Eli Letterman, ESPN. Go ahead, Eli.
Yeah, that's a good question. It's like the voice of God asking me a question right there. Yeah. You know, just having the opportunity throughout the spring and fall camp to go against Coach Venables and his defense, you know, I think just one thing that he does is he's going to challenge you. He's going to challenge everything about your scheme. He's going to, whether it's run game or pass game, he's incredible at sitting back, dissecting, and really studying, you know, what you're trying to do, what you like to do, and he's going to challenge that, you know, in a bunch of different fashions. Sometimes you think you know what you're about to get, and you don't. And I think that's just the beauty of him as a play caller and the beauty of him as a game planner and a coach. So he's going to challenge everything that you want to do.
All right, that's all we have time for. Thank you, Coach.
Yeah, appreciate y'all. Boomer.
You know, one possession game. It's going to be a game that every play has tremendous magnitude, and you know, and then again, nobody is going to win or lose by themselves. It's going to take all of us, you know, working together, you know, like it has all year long. And so, that's kind of been my message. I did, you know, take a time to, you know, make sure our players have a good perspective on, you know, this moment. But again, respectfully speaking, we've been talking about, again, painting the picture of what we want the whole season to look like. And so in our mind, this is the next one that's in front of us, right now with goals and aspirations to continue to play all the way to the end. And I know it was, maybe, crazy kind of talk and, outlandish, if you will, to talk about that back in fall camp or to mention, big goals and things of that nature. But for us, we've said it for a while now through, again, a body of work, at the end of fall camp, man, when we put it all together, we can play and compete with any team in college football. And it still holds true. And as I've said, man, you can lose too, to the teams that we're playing because we're playing really good football teams. So again, like I said, the margins are really small. The environment and the atmosphere is going to be, wonderful. And I also say this, those things don't win, external factors don't, but it's going to be awesome for our players to be able to share this experience, with our wonderful fan base and, all of their families. Mm-hmm.
Left side on the aisle, Jesse.
Jesse Crittenden, OU Insider. Brent, along those lines of just this 12-team playoff format, when you head into a format where you can play is up to 4 extra games, another month of football, how much does that impact, kind of the way you guys prepare or practice? Do you focus more on rest and recovery? Do you spend more time on the field? Just how does this format kind of impact that? Yeah,
it's all about being efficient, getting your work in, finding the right balance, trusting all the information, trusting your eyes, trusting, there's lots of, sports science around it too. You look at everything and then you just kind of get a feel for, what this team needs, where your emphasis needs to be, but you got to get your work in. This is football. It's hard. It's tough. It's physical. Injuries are part of it. Fatigue's part of it. Nobody's going to be 100%, not this time of the year. So we got to be at our best at, if that's 70% or if that's 80%, and every individual's a little different. We got a few Lamborghinis that everything's got to be perfect, but most of our guys are just, again, they're tough, they're edgy, they're going to show up and give it, everything they got and lay it on the line, no matter where they're at from a percentage standpoint. But you got to be smart, and so you spend less time on the field, you spend less time in the meetings, because you don't want it to, you don't want it to feel like punishment. Whatever that means. You don't want it to be just in a drag. Because I like long. I like more. I just, but less is more, I think, and it's appropriate, this time of the year. And so you just try to, manage that. There's got several of our coaches, myself included, that've played a lot of meaningful postseason games, over the last couple of decades. So you lean back on some of that too, but you also have to trust what you see in front of, you when it comes to this team and what their needs are.
Let's go to Bob.
Bob Persbill, Sooner Scoop. Brent, talked to Deshaun White and Braden Willis a couple weeks ago, and they were both adamant that even though the on-field success wasn't there in 2022, you were the right guy for the job. You were the one that's going to bring OU back to the elite level. Just looking back, anything from that initial season that you can point toward that's helped you get to where you guys are now?
Yeah, I mean, those guys, man, we weren't very deep anywhere. We were a lot better on offense than we were on defense. Statistically speaking, I think we lost 5 games by 1 score, and we just ran out of gas in the fourth quarter that season. But man, the heart, the attitude, the toughness that group competed with, led with, man, they were wonderful. And again, the results weren't what we wanted. Even up to the last game against Florida State, where we're getting ready to go up by 2 scores there with just under maybe 4 minutes to go, and we fumble going in, and they get it back, come back down, and tie it up. Anyway, that was kind of how the season went, but I couldn't have been more pleased with the fight and the attitude of our first team, and they really did a wonderful job of, okay, this is how we do what we do. And obviously you want better results, but they laid the foundation for just, new set of standards and expectations, a value system.
Next to Bob, let's go to Josh.
Josh McDaniel, OU Daily. Brent, I just want to go back to the special teams and Tate Sandell. What did you see early on from Sandell when you were recruiting him to say that he could be someone that would be the best kicker in the nation?
Yeah, so as the portal recruiting is a lot different than maybe high school. We signed Jonathan Hatton. Well, we had been recruiting Jonathan and his family for over 2 years. And so that experience, say, with a guy like him is going to be different with a portal guy. But, my first, memories are his visit with his mother and father sitting in my office, his confidence. I've bragged on that and talked about that, with him, very confident. And the mom and dad, you could see where they got it from. But I've learned quickly he's a guy's guy. This guy's going to fit in really well. He's not an introvert. He's into a lot of the stuff that a lot of the guys in the locker room are into. And he was running towards, Oklahoma, which I have an appreciation for. Man, he looked at the opportunity like I look at it, just amazing opportunity. This is one of those places. And he's had a lot of respect for his opportunity, and resonated with his teammates immediately. But very, very competitive.
Okay, second row, we'll go to Davis and then Kerry.
Davis Cordova, Norman transcript. I just wanted to, we know about Owen and his eligibility issues next year. What would your pitch be to the NCAA?
I don't have a pitch. I'm not going to waste my time, I'm not waste your time, I should say. But I don't control any of that, and they're not asking me what do I think they should do. They have systems and processes in place to figure all that out, and so I just want whatever's best for Owen. Whatever he wants is what I want. Yeah, he's been great. He's a great leader. He's been a tremendous playmaker this year. The more he's played, the better he's gotten. Really humble, hardworking guy. It's cool to, connections from, his uncle that played here, started on our national championship team, was a walk-on as well. Got a great testimony, and drives an old beat-up pickup truck. He says he comes back, he don't want no money, nothing else. He just wants the opportunity to play. And, man, he was certainly raised the right way. Wonderful family, humble guys. Really, he's one of those players that, by how he shows up every day, just his attitude and mindset, he makes everybody around him better and helps connect the team. He's one of the glue guys, in our entire locker room.
Okay, let's go back right side, third row, Cliff.
Cliff Brunt, Associated Press. So you haven't really been here all that long, but yet you've already kind of run the gamut in terms of perceptions and ups and downs. You were the guy everybody wanted when you came here, went through some struggles. Now you're close to the top of the mountain, so to speak. Having said all of that, what has the burden of being the head coach at Oklahoma been like, given the expectations and the ups and the downs that you've been through?
Yeah, I think the snapshot you just described that's what everybody's life looks like, in some way, shape, or form. Maybe not be up here and you fail in front of the world, but, that's what you just said. That's life. That's, the coach at Oklahoma. I don't mind to be judged and in front of people, and again, failing in front of the world, but, you also be put back together in front of those who broke you as well. And so there's that. And so, been in this profession a long time. This, as I've said, what the game of football has meant to me, it saved my life. Coaches in my life have changed me and shaped me and developed me and given me this amazing opportunity that I have standing before you today. I would not be here if it weren't for people like Bob Stoops and Bill Snyder and Dabo Sweeney and Jim Levitt, Mike Stoops, Mark Mangino, so many people that poured into me and saw something in me before I could see it in myself. And so I come from that place. I don't ever get away from that, ever. Daily, I remind myself of how grateful I am, and I'm in my proper place. And not up here, not down here. I'm just like everybody else. And when it comes to having a favored life and great opportunity through, I play a small part in it, no doubt. But if I have a crappy attitude, and if I have an attitude that goes like this, man, I'm going to live a miserable life. And so I don't look at it, well, the coach, and he goes, how do you, handle all this, the highs and lows of being the coach? It's just living life. And a lot of people are counting on you. And so my purpose is not attached to the head coach at Oklahoma. It's, the best title I got is as a dad and as a husband and then a believer. And so I keep things in its rightful place. I put everything I got into everything I do. I love what I do, and I like the good times. I like to be doubted, and and we've, there's several people here, you're doing your jobs. You've had to say the bad things too about us, about me, and that's cool. I don't hold on to it. I remember, but I don't hold on to it. And but that just comes with it too, that you sign up for that, the whole man in the arena thing. So again, you try to balance everything out and don't live a dysfunctional life when it comes to I'm worried about what everybody thinks now because, we lost a game. And nobody cares more deeply than me. And I carry that heavy burden of wanting people to have pride that love Oklahoma. And I want my players to walk with their head held high because, man, they're about the right stuff, and everybody sees that and how they play, how they compete, how they win, their success, and to represent this program the right way with, great, strong character and humility and having a genuine appreciation, for their teammates, their college experience, and certainly, the jersey that they get to wear at the University of Oklahoma. So, again, I know it's kind of long-winded, but, everybody here, what you described, at some point in time, they're going to be there, and somewhere in between. And, for me, by the grace of God, I've just been able to stay kind of right here, through all of it. And never think too much of myself. And again, I've said this. I know I've lived a career that, man, I don't deserve. That is represented excellence, not perfectness, excellence for decades. And, the people that have been put in my life are players, coaches, mentors, my family, my spirituality of how I've been able to manage it all without, trying to appeal to the voices and the opinions of people that, quite honestly, don't affect me.
Say something bad about Brent.com.
Probably. How many pages?
This is our last question, by the way. We have to.
I asked Ben Arbuckle kind of what he's learned, spending this year from you about being a head coach, and the first word he said was unwavering. There was other adages, I think, tireless and things like that. I'm curious, just you in general, how difficult is it to coach for you, to be on your staff, as much energy as you have, and do you like finding guys that maybe don't have that and trying to kind of bring them up to your level, if you will?
I like people that have it. That makes everything easier. I don't know how difficult it is. That would be the opinion of somebody else. I feel like I provide great structure. I lead from the front, not from the back. I try to be the example, and I'm constantly, planting the right seeds. Planting seeds. Whether you want to think they're right or not, but I'm planting the seeds nonstop of what my expectations are, and try to, again, just be a model of consistency and be an example and creating guardrails and structure that are going to help people be successful and be consistent, and being thoughtful, along the way, and reminding people what it should be about, where their motives should lie. And so those were just, as a leader, you have to continually rehearse your beliefs, and human nature is to put one hand on the wheel, and so buckle up, two hands on the wheel. This is what it looks like. Eyes forward, and press on. And there's going to be good and bad, and you got to be able to handle all of it. And so for me, it all starts with loving what you do. I don't think you'll be great at anything if you don't love it. And so just showing up with an edge, with passion, and then knowing people in the building. All right, people are feeling pretty good right now. I got to crank it up, and making sure people aren't satisfied with making it to the playoffs. We had a bye week, so now the first day coming back, hey man, when game plan's already done, no, it ain't. And so having a pulse, for that, sometimes again, you got to make people uncomfortable. Some people may not like it, And my job is just to help make them better and get them to do what we need them to do so we can be successful. And it's all centered on helping the players and what's best for them. But I'm no more demanding of anybody else. Not like I'm making people stay up here and guard their desk. That's not my style at all. But when we're here, man, it's 10 and 10 on the treadmill. Let's go get it. All the details, everything, little thing matters. And again, if you don't, they won't. So, your players are going to be a direct reflection of the love, trust, and respect that they have for you as a coach. And they're like your own kids. If you assume anything, with them, they're gonna screw up most of the time. And so, you got to continually elevate their standards every single day, and and expect them to do it the right way. Demand they do it the right way every day. Do it the right way. If that's flex, if that's ball security, whatever it is, that's so that's the bottom line. Anybody that's successful in life is going to expect people that they work with, their colleagues, to hold the same standard, not to compromise at any point in time. And so I got to manage that. I want people that I don't have to micromanage with that, but I do have to always be conscious that I got to remind people and show them, be the example. And then I think the best leaders elevate everybody around them. And I don't know that that's me, but I also have a locker room, player and coach, of a lot of great leaders, amazing people that have, great leadership skills, and in their own petri dish, they get to make people around them better. And that's what an individual coach should do for his position room, is make everybody better. And so demand excellence. And that's what this place expects. If game day is supposed to look something like that, then every other day leading up to that should look something like that. So I don't know if they feel like I feel like I'm a pretty reasonable guy, and I like to have fun when we're doing things the right way and being successful. So I'm not very much fun. I'm passionate, but I'm not very much fun when things aren't going like we want them to go. And even then, sometimes you got to guard against, again, the one hand on the wheel mentality.
Thank you, Coach.
Right. Appreciate you. Do you guys want to go inside or outside? Outside? Okay. All right. Where are you toboggan?
That was head coach Brent Venables. Thanks for listening to the weekly Sooner Football Press Conference with head coach Brent Venables, presented by Allstate. Friday night under the lights, it's the college football playoff against the Alabama Crimson Tide. Pre-game coverage on Sooner Sports Network will start at 4. Kickoff set for just after 7. For producer Brian Freeman, running things back in our Jeff City studios, Liz Blythe of Sooner Vision for our on-site assistants, the Sooner Sports Network in Learfield. I'm Drake Dyken.
How are we doing? Good. Pretty good.
Okay.
Thanks, Brian.
Camera's good?
Have a good one.
Okay, let's start on the aisle over here, George.
Hey, John. George Stoya, Sooner Scoop. What has these past few weeks been for you guys offensively, and especially you reviewing maybe your season, but also just working on fundamentals? What has maybe the last few weeks done for you?
There's been a lot of self-scout, a lot of looking at stuff that we're good at, stuff that we struggle at, and stuff that other teams know, if there's any tips or anything. Just getting better every day. I think Coach Venables puts it in the right light. Like, we're always on a rise. This week, I don't even know, 16, 17, I don't know. A lot of football. We played a lot of football, but you're always getting better. There's people could say, "Oh, it hasn't clicked in 14 weeks. It's not going to." Whatever. It's one day at a time. You get better, and you get better with people around you.
Okay, we'll stay next to George. Mason.
Mason Young, Tulsa World. John, you talked about when you got here always wanting the opportunity to play on a big stage like this. Can you kind of put into perspective what it's meant to you to be here this season, playing for this team in the SEC, and to have this opportunity in front of you?
Yeah, this is a dream come true. I mean, this is everything I could ever ask for as a kid, and I kind of told myself that like a year ago. I've prayed for this opportunity. I've hoped for it. I've worked for it, and I'm glad it's here. I'm not going to take it for granted. I haven't taken the work for granted, the preparation. It's awesome.
Jenny?
Ole Miss game on, you guys have had 5 pass plays of 39 yards or longer, and a few of them have been big cross-country plays, 80, 70, that sort of thing. But the amount of, say, 25 to 39 is pretty small. I think it's maybe 4 since that time. That intermediate stuff, how do you maybe unlock that, and how important could that be against Alabama and maybe moving forward?
You just keep calling them, keep trusting them and trusting that everybody's going to be in their spot. And I think when you call plays like that, you can't just call them every play. There's spots for them. And then I got to do a better job just if it's not there, just checking it down and just check it down, like play the next play. And I'm learning more about playing quarterback every week and when to take a chance and when to just play the next play. And I think it just comes with that, getting better every week. And, they'll click.
Okay, let's go second row, Ryan Chapman.
Ryan Chapman, Susan aside, the first half of the game was kind of weird for you guys because you went up early and felt like it was maybe a little bit more ball control type thing. But what did you learn from going back and watching your performance and how you guys can improve despite the game plan kind of being a little safer?
Yeah, I'd say there's always little details that you can do better to make it more efficient. There's a lot of third downs we just didn't execute. I think that's the biggest thing we took from the game. And I think ball security is always important. I think it's at a premium right now in the playoff and then the end of the year. And, I don't always do a great job of it, obviously, but it's always on our mind. And so I don't think we were being passive, but I think there's just more detail that we need to be clearer with.
Okay, third row inside aisle, James.
James Hale, KC Sports Radio. John, some of the players said that you're spending extra time after practice throwing with your receivers, and you probably do that all the time, and we don't know about it. But talk about how much more confidence that gives you, whatever you guys are working on, that it'll work on Friday night.
Yeah, I think practice brings confidence, and I've believed that my whole life, and just being able to do it, getting back to where I was, and I mean it's still a battle, it happened, and I'm always battling for it, being real detailed in the way I throw, and every time the ball comes on my hand, feeling it the right way, and I think doing it to a point where it's just unconscious. You can throw a route, and it's going to be right on their face mask. You don't even have to think about it. So I think that's a big key, so you believe it when it happens on Saturday or Friday night.
We'll stay back there with Cliff.
Yeah, Cliff from Associated Press. I know you like touchdowns, but you got Tate Sandell. How critical and how important, can you put in perspective just how much he's meant to the offense
No
and
doubt.
just to the team overall?
Yeah, he's been huge. I mean, it takes a lot of pressure off of us. We want to score, and like you said, I like touchdowns. I do, and everybody does. But sometimes it just doesn't work out. They have a good plan on third down, or we don't execute. And I know, we run off the field, he's gonna do a good job, and him and the holder and the snapper, and they always do a great job. I'm really proud of him, first of all, for his award. I mean, he put in the work for it. He came here, and all he did was work for it. He's been a great teammate, and I love that kid, and I'm glad he's doing so well. But he's been huge for this team.
Left side, first row, Josh.
Josh McDaniel, OU Daily. John, from the very first time you met Brent Venables to now, what has really stuck with you? And just as you go this path ahead, playoffs, what really resonates with you?
Yeah, I think everybody says his passion and his intensity. I think I'll remember that forever. And he makes me a better person, though. I think the way he leads is I've learned from it since I've been here. He leads through Christ and through being more like Jesus every day. And that's all you can wish for in a man and a leader, because that's what we're all trying to do. And I think another thing that's so important is his detail. He's so detailed in the way his defense, like the scheme and how every play matters so much. And I think that's something that some kids might take for granted, and it's just another play. But he doesn't let it happen, and we don't let it happen because it comes from him.
Stay there, Bob.
Isabella, Sooner Scoop. John, is OU and yourself making the playoff, is that validation that was the right move for you, or is that just an added bonus?
It's definitely an added bonus. I think this has been the right place for a long time, and I'm around the right people. Not everything has gone perfect, but all right. Not everything has gone perfect, and it never does. But I know I'm in the right spot because I have the right people around me who still have my back, and that's all that matters.
Okay, let's go to second row, Brandon.
Brandon Drum, OU Insider. John, what's it been like just watching such a youthful, talented offensive line, and Foje, EPL, Fasusi, but what's it been like watching them grow? What's your role been in that, and how has the last 2.5 weeks been so beneficial to them?
Yeah, they've done a great job, first of all. I mean, it's so impressive. I didn't play until my third year in college. I couldn't imagine playing in this league in my first year. I mean, they're doing a great job, and they don't flinch. I think that's what's so impressive. Like they just go after it, and they're like, all right, coach, I'll do it. Like it's awesome. FoJ took some reps at center because they want him to learn it a little bit, and it's like, whoa, like he's doing it. Like it's, not for any reason, but, just trying things out. He's doing it, and he's just so good. So good at football, and they're both, all three of them are so good, so talented. They're doing a great job. I think just me bringing them encouragement, confidence, and I think that's all you can wish for. A couple things here and there. I don't know a whole lot about the O-line. I know where they're sliding and stuff, but they're doing a great job.
Okay, go ahead, Curtis.
Yeah, Curtis Fitzpatrick from the Sports Animal. Looks like you and Jaron Kanek had a good connection in that LSU game. How important is it getting him back involved in the offense and you guys having that connection?
Yeah, he's been huge. I think he does a great job of getting open, and then run after catch is just awesome. You can see seems like he always makes a guy miss and gets a couple extra yards. I mean, getting him just taking the easy throws sometimes and letting him run is huge, and I think it's important for me to do that.
Same row, Kerry.
Kerry Murdoch from Center Scoop. The run game, obviously guys haven't been healthy. Have you noticed teams playing you a little bit differently, down the stretch here, knowing that maybe you guys aren't fully healthy at running back?
No, I wouldn't say so. I mean, I know since last year I've been a key. My run ability, and any running quarterback is always a key. And I mean, they're gonna chase me out of my fakes and run, and there's always gonna be an extra guy on me. And I mean, that's normal. I don't think it's for any reason of health or any other than I'm able to run the ball.
How much easier does that make the offense when you do have the running game going, though?
Yeah, I mean, that's football. Like, you establish the run. It helps, obviously, to throw. And you see all these offenses around college football, they do a great job of it. And I think we do a good job. And, it's football makes it easier.
Hey, John, we've got a question via Zoom. It's going to be from Sean McFarland of the Dallas Morning News. Sean, you can go ahead. Sean, you can go ahead. Sean, you can go ahead.
Hey, John, just kind of touched on it earlier, talked about, this being the place you wanted to be, playing at a establishment like this. I'm just curious for you after this season, what has it been like, I guess, being the starting quarterback at Oklahoma and the lineage of quarterbacks that have come through here, and whether it's the spotlight or the pressure, what has it been like navigating that for a full season and getting to this point?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I've learned a lot about myself and about what it's like, to be a quarterback at this stage, and it's everything I've dreamed of. It obviously hasn't gone perfect, but it's been great, and just to be somebody to put on the jersey and throw a ball for this university has been a huge honor.
That's all our time. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Okay, we got Jayden Jackson. Question, we'll start here on the left side, Bob, and then Jesse.
Bob Persbillo, Sooner Scoop. Jayden, just want to ask you about David Stone and what it's been like. He kind of waited patiently through last season, and this year's been the breakout season that he was hoping for, just watching him shine.
It was kind of fun. It was kind of, amazing to see that growth. I saw it firsthand, just the extra things he was doing that he didn't do before. So if that was, staying later for meetings on his own, just going over film on his own, knowing the plays on the back of his hand, just getting comfortable. And seeing that was amazing. He deserved to have the season he had. It just showed, like, all the work that he did off season. Even when it came to reps as, running, he was like the first guy every time. So, everything was deserved that he had coming. So it was really amazing to see.
Brendan, OU Insider. Jayden, kind of along those lines, just the interior, the defensive tackle spot for you guys as a whole, seems like the depth has just been a really important part of this defense all year. Just for you guys on the interior, what stood out to you about the way you guys played throughout the season, the way you guys grew as a group?
I say this a lot, but, we're really tight. Guys coming in like Dom last year, there was no fall off. We accepted him instantly. So we became, probably the closest group, I would say. Yeah, it's just a bunch of guys wanting to work, They have their why. They're hungry, especially our older guys. Yeah, I love working with them. Yeah.
Okay, we'll come to the second row, Brandon Drill.
Brandon Drum, OU Insider. Jayden, you were kind of banged up a little bit the first time around this year against Alabama. This will be your third time to play them in just a matter of years. What's your expectation for this game? Just does this game kind of give you validation of choosing Oklahoma?
No, the game has nothing to do with, choosing Oklahoma. I chose Oklahoma because faith, family football was being preached throughout everyone there. So, but, I was a couple banged up here and there. Not how I wanted the season to go, but just unfortunate events happen. You never know what happened. I'd say, I'm very blessed to be in the position I am. A college football playoff, I'm pretty sure that's every kid's dream. Yeah.
Okay, let's go to Kerry.
Kerry Murdoch, Sooner Scoop. Jayden, you talked about the closeness of this team. Why do you think that it's spread like it has to so many players on this defense, that you guys get along and that you all kind of hold each other accountable?
To be honest, I think it's just our goal. Everyone, I feel like, in my room and especially other people's room, everyone's tight. Just their why. This is a big gateway for a lot of young athletes, to make it out and potentially help their family and things like that. So, especially with having everything on your back and things like that, I'd say it makes us tighter. Just a group of guys that just are hungry, willing to work. And then off season, Smitty can get pretty hard on you, and there's no one out there but your guys. You're running down and back, you're doing 110s, you're doing everything. So there's no one else to lean on. So you're really killing yourself with your boys, if that makes sense.
Okay, let's go to the right side, first row, Jenny.
Hey, Jayden, Jenny Carlson with the Oklahoman. This defense, you guys have a couple transfers, but in large part, this is a group that guys come in as high schoolers, develop under Brent. I know you're one of the younger guys in that you're only in your second year, but I'm curious what that looks like from the inside to have guys that have, played under Brent, maybe their whole career, and just what does that mean for this defense?
It means a lot for this defense, especially young guys that come in and develop, because that's what he does. He develops, there's tweets out there like 3-star, come in, take over. T-Wine, we've seen it in the making. Even transfer guys, even Owen Heineke, potentially a lacrosse player that came in and, he's had an outstanding year. And so, the development here is amazing, and it's crazy what he can do, and it's just.
Okay, let's go on the aisle. George?
Yeah, Jayden, George Stoyes here, Scoop. Just wondering, what has Grayson Halton meant to the defensive tackle room? It feels like his veteran presence, he's one of those guys that Jenny's talking about. He stayed all 4 years. What has his leadership and experience meant to that room?
That's him and Dom, the older guys in our room are the leaders of our room. They really take it, they take our room to the highest it can be. They just, they lead us to get our mind right, get us physically. If a guy's slacking, there's no fall off. Like, even if it's one of them slacking, like, it's really just the leadership he has and he came with. He's always had it. He's always been the vocal leader, even last year, even years before. So, he's a crucial role in the DT room, and, I'm just blessed to say that's my brother. So.
Okay, we'll go to the second row. Let's go to Ryan and then Tom.
Ryan Chapman, Suicide Side. Talking to Eli and Owen, as good as you guys played defensively in the first game, they still said you left a lot on the table. When you look at the defensive line, what are some of those things that you guys feel like you can make big improvements in the second game?
There's a lot of stuff we need to work on. No one ever is perfect, but probably communication, pad level. It can literally go down the list of, false steps, simple things like that we need to work on. And yeah, we've definitely emphasized that. We're definitely working to get better on every aspect that, we were lacking. But yeah, so we've been improving and just working on that type of stuff.
Tom?
Tom Braden, Sooners Illustrated. Jayden, you mentioned you were banged up down the final month of the season. Just how beneficial were these couple of weeks off for you from a physicality standpoint, and just how difficult was it kind of managing and navigating that injury down the stretch?
You know, it was very beneficial. 3 weeks off. I mean, not really off, but you know, to recover. I think it was beneficial for the whole team. You know, not only just to recover our body, but also our mind, and you know, mentally just recover. So, you know, and then dealing with the injury. You know, I got to play no matter what, so it don't even really affect me. Just continue to do treatment here and there and do what the team needs. So.
Okay, Jayden, we have a couple of questions from Zoom here. The first one will be from Eli Letterman with ESPN. Eli, you can go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Hey,
go ahead.
We hear a lot of.
Go ahead.
But also, you know, he's said himself that he's having more fun this year, and obviously being involved in play calling. I'm curious if there's anything that has shown either in the game, in the locker room, where Brent's intensity or fun has shown through.
Jayden, what are your thoughts on that? Just hang on a second. Some technical issues here. Let's go ahead and try to ask that question.
I can give it another shot if it's any better, but you can speak me if not.
One more time. Myron, if you could stay muted. Eli, let's Eli, I'll try to get you with. Thanks, Jayden. Thanks, Jayden.
I was going to take over for the next 10 minutes. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks. Okay, well, that wasn't the problem.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking some.
Yes.
Okay, we got Kendall Daniels next. Just got a question for Kendall. Okay, let's start here in the second row. Brandon and then Carrie.
Brandon Drum, OU Insider. First time you played, and you got close at Oklahoma State, obviously. What does this game mean to you as a kid from Oklahoma to play in your home state, host the game?
Yeah.
How excited are you for this weekend?
I'm really excited. You know, growing up in Oklahoma, you want to show all the other states that we produce a lot of good players, and, you know, being able to represent the great state of Oklahoma, you know, on this big stage and the playoffs, the college football playoffs, it means a lot. You know, it's meant a lot for just growing up and seeing everybody get to play in, and it's going to be real fun.
Gary Murdoch from Sooner Scoop. Kendall, I'm sure, you know, you come in here, guys know about you a little bit, but,
Yeah.
you know, you go out and practice. What was it about, you know, this team that kind of, you remember a moment where you felt like, okay, I'm a part of this group now?
It was after, I would say after the first winter workout, you know, going through hard times with guys. And, you know, when I first got here, it was kind of hard trying to embrace the culture of OU, you know, because we went back and forth so many years. And so just when I first got here, I didn't expect the guys to take me in like they did and, you know, become my brothers like they did. You know, they reached out to me first and, you know, wanted to hang out outside of football and asked me about my family and everything. And we just joked about the games that we used to play against each other. So I think that was the biggest thing, being able to joke about the games that we used to play against each other and not, you know, argue about it or go back and forth.
Was there a first contact you remember, a guy that you were already close with when you got here, maybe?
Me and Gentry Williams, we got recruited together. We came on a couple of visits in high school together. So when I was on my visit, I called him and talked to him. And then Trace Ford was here last year. So I talked to him during the recruiting process, and he told me how it was here, the good and the bad. You know, I told him to keep it 100 with me. So, you know, being able to know those guys really helped me in the decision-making.
Yeah. Over Norman transcript. I'm sure you're aware of OU's history in the playoff. Just,
Yeah.
you know, a couple trips, no wins. Is there added weight for you guys to, you know, maybe be the first team here to get a college football playoff win?
Added weight, I wouldn't say that. I feel like we've had the chip on our shoulders since the beginning of the season. So everything's been hard this season. This game is going to be hard to win. It was hard to win all the games that we did win. So it's just another football game, and being able to prepare for it is fun, and being able to have a couple extra weeks with the guys, it's going to be fun. And, we just we keep winning, we keep playing together. That's kind of how it is. And, this is a brotherhood. It's sad that this is we only have 4 games left. So it's so we keep winning, we keep playing together. That's the bright side.
Side, first row, Barry, and then Jenny.
Yeah, Barry Trammell, Tulsa World. Just curious, when you talked to Trace, what did he say was the good and what did he say was the bad?
He says they ran a lot more than they did at OSU, but he said Coach Schmitty would love me when I first got here. So I think those are both 100% correct.
Hey, Kendall, Jenny Carlson with the Oklahoman. This defense that you're on, you're kind of a rarity as a transfer. There's a lot of guys that have been here since they came in as high school guys. I'm curious what you think the benefit to that is, sort of having a defense built from within in an era when that doesn't really happen. And maybe if you've sensed why it's been that way, that guys have stayed and maybe, spent years not playing and then, stayed to get that opportunity.
Yeah, that's helped me. Being able to come in and kind of be the only guy I knew was good. You don't want to go into a defense, especially Coach Venables' defense, with 10 guys they're all learning. So I've been able to learn from the linebackers, the safeties, the D-line. Everybody's been here, and they just kind of dumb it down for me. When I first got here, it was kind of hard learning the defense and trying to play a lot of positions, but being able to talk to the guys that's been here for 4 years and know what Coach Venables talks about. And Coach Venables will say a sentence, like when I first got here, he would say half a sentence, and the whole defense would say the rest of the sentence, and I was just looking around like I never heard that before. But now I'm able to do that, and be with the guys and being around the guys and just having fun and being around Coach Venables and Coach Jarlin and Coach Goodwin, guys like that, it really helped me.
Sorry, Mike, but do you have a sense of why guys have been willing to maybe wait their turn or wait for that, not transfer somewhere else?
Yeah, the brotherhood isn't like this at a lot of places. The grass isn't greener in a lot of places, and you go somewhere and you're just another number. So I feel like being raised in this type of defense with Coach Venables, and he cares about you as a human. So I feel like that was played a part in some of the guys staying, and they trusted the process. It wasn't good for them in 2022 because Coach Venables just got there, but they trusted him, and it played out good for everybody that stayed.
If you do have a follow-up question, let's use the mic. We'll get it to you. Second row on the far end, Brady.
Brady Trantham, Sooners on SI. Kendall, going back to the week going into the LSU game, you'd mentioned that game was going to be special for you because it was going to be the last game you played in the state of Oklahoma. So how special is it to have an extra last game in the state of Oklahoma?
It's going to be real special now. It's the playoffs, and it's in December. My birthday is tomorrow. It's going to be a big week, so it means a lot. I'm trying to take it all in, and, it's sad because it's the end of my college career, and this is the last game that I'll play in Oklahoma, my last football game. So being able to have family come to the games and everything has been such a blessing. But it's time to move on after this. And, we still have 3 more games after that. So, I try not to think about it so much that it'll be my last Oklahoma game, but it is what it is.
Okay, let's go third row, James.
Kendall, this is supposed to be such a complicated defense. Was it when you got here and you found out? And in a week like this, when Brent gets to scheme for a team and get some extra time, has it been kind of fascinating what he comes up with?
Yeah. When I first got here, I was kind of like, I've never seen nothing like this. He knows plays and he knows what offenses like to do and tendencies and everything. And then when you get to a couple weeks like this and be able to dial up some plays, it's kind of fascinating just being able to be the guy that he's talking to and telling the plays to. And it's fun. It's hard sometimes, being able to take the practice film to the field the same day. But it's a challenge that, you love. You love the challenge, and if you get it right, you'll be really successful.
Okay, we'll come to the left side, Bob, and then Jesse.
Bob Persbillo, Sooner Scoop. Kendall, just want your thoughts on being able to watch what Reggie Powers has been able to do, and what's your role in trying to get him better?
Oh, I love that guy, man. That's my little brother, and I try to help him. Mentally, I played a lot of football, And I know, like, sometimes he's a young guy. He just, started playing a lot this year, and I help him out a lot. I try to at least help him out, and I just tell him what I see on the field, and he tells me what he sees. And, he's a hard hitter. So, he has a high motor. He's just always ready to go. He's ready to go. So, I mean, just having a young guy like that I can trust in to go in when I get tired and he can go in and make a play. It feels good to be able to do that and trust him. And he practiced hard and he knows the plays and he studies extra and he waits. He goes after practice and works on his man technique, and he wants to learn. He's not frustrated at times. He's always wanting to learn, and he's always asking questions, and I try to help him as much as I can.
Jesse?
Jesse Crittenden, OU Insider. Kendall, you mentioned you guys could have potentially, up to 3 more games after this weekend. So just from a player's perspective, how do you handle kind of the next few weeks? How much more important is rest and recovery? Do you, make sure you stay in a rhythm on the field? Just how does that look like?
The rhythm is the biggest part, because school is not being in session now. It's the finals and holidays coming up. You have to stay focused. It's not normal to be playing right now unless you're getting ready for a ball game. So you only get this chance one time in your lifetime. So make it count. You don't want to look back and be like, I wish I was locked in more, So I feel like that's the biggest thing, trying to stay locked in, and you have to keep working on your body. And, we've been playing football for a long time with fall camp and everything. So you still got to work on your body even more, watch more film. You have more time to watch film on teams, a lot more games. So I feel like it's a mental part, but it's also physical with your body and everything. So it's fun being able to do that, and it's rare. So we knew that it was going to take this. So that's what that is.
Okay, Kendall, we're going to try the Zoom function here. We've got a question from Myron Patton with OKC Sports Radio. Myron, you can go ahead. You can go ahead.
Yeah, Kendall.
You can go ahead.
Kendall.
You can go ahead.
You got me?
You can go ahead.
Got me?
You can go ahead.
Got me?
You can go ahead.
Check. Loop. Is it going to loop? No loop? Hey.
Tate Sandell, Oklahoma's first ever Lou Groza Award winner. Who's got questions or a question for Tate? We'll start on the far end. Jenny?
Hey, Tate, Jenny Carlson with the Oklahoman. Can you just talk a little about the ceremony on Friday, what that was like to win the Groza and just be in that space?
It was really exciting, having all my friends and family, my closest people around me. I mean, they're the reason why all this happened, and to be able to share that moment with them, it was really special.
Next to Jenny, we'll go to Barry.
Barry Trammell, Tulsa World. What's a kicker's mentality when he's on the sideline? His offense is moving the ball. You want him to score a touchdown, but you also want, hey, let's stop right here and let me kick a 55-yard field goal.
Yeah,
I'm serious. How does I'm sure both of those things are what you want. How do you balance those out mentally in the middle of a game?
I just try to just stay as neutral as possible, and I enjoy watching the game, like watching football. So I just really just sit there, and when we kind of get close to that range, then I'll get 1 or 2 in the net, and then I just go back to watching. And if it gets that third down, third medium, then I'm kind of on a knee next to my coordinator and kind of just ready for my opportunity if it's called. If not, I'm never like, dang, I really wanted to kick that. It really doesn't matter. Like, in a good way, I just want the team to succeed and for myself as well.
Okay, let's come first row, George.
Hey, Tate, George Stoya, Soonerscoop.com. Does anything make you nervous? Like, is there anything? Because it doesn't seem like kicking is something that makes you nervous.
I mean, there are nerves, but if someone tells you that they're not nervous, they're probably lying to you. It's just the amount of preparation that we've done during the week that, stacks that confidence and just what allows you to go out on the field and operate at a high level. And I think that how hard we make practice, it makes the games not as hard. And I think that's important.
Secondly, I was told a story about how you used to sneak onto your high school football field to kick balls in the middle of the night. Could you walk us through how you started doing that?
So my dad works at the school, so I would just take his keys and go out to the field. And I guess people started to, or like a couple of my buddies, like my buddy's dad is the police in the police department. He said he drove by. He's like, I don't know who that is, and he figured out it was me, and he would kind of mess with me about it every now and then. But you know, I know it sounds so cliche, like, but just I wanted to just get a little bit better, like every day. And if I could do that, I know not everybody else is doing that, and it wasn't for like attention. Like nobody knew I was doing that. That was just purely for me. And I'm just one of those guys where I need like the 10,000 rep rule just to get better, and that was just the way I had to do it.
Let's go second row, Tom.
Hey, Tate, Tom Green, Sooners Illustrated. I know this is your first year here, but just what is it about Coach Deacon's approach that has just made this special teams unit so good across the board this season?
I think he understands that it's a player's game, and the scheme that he equips us with it works every time. And he kind of takes the mentality of you don't put a saddle on a Mustang and just lets us work. It's just, you know, when you don't put a limit on your players, our full potential can show out, and he and Coach Venables as well, they take that true into the team.
Third row, Cliff.
Yeah, Cliff Brunt, Associated Press. So you had a really good year last year, but obviously a great historic year this year. Are there one or two things that you can point to between last year and this year that elevated your game to the level that it's at now?
I think Coach V's confidence in me this year, he said it whenever I got here, you know, when we were in fall camp and I had like a 61-yarder. You know, normally people would punt in there, but he threw me out there and said, I'm not going to put a limit on you. We're going to see what you can do. And that I just kind of fed off of that, and just, you know, I knew what I could do, and I knew he knew what I can do, and that helps me a lot.
Left side, second row, Brandon.
Brandon Drum, OU Insider. Just like you talked about, you've had a really good career, but this year in general, can you kind of 30,000-foot view, I know you still have games to play, but 30,000-foot view, what this has meant to you just this season, the goals, the dreams that you've accomplished at this point?
It's truly just, you know, a culmination of everything that, you know, where I started, how far I've come. You know, I walked on at UTSA. You know, if you were to tell me I'd be here, you know, in 3 years, you know, I'd laugh at you. I mean, there was a point where me and my dad had that conversation. Man, the money is running out. Like, we're gonna have to, you know, think about some things, and you know, I'm not gonna put my family in a financial burden. So I was almost done. Thinking back to that and to what I was able to do this year, it's there's nothing sweeter.
Okay, we'll go back to the right side, second row, Brady.
Two questions, Tate. I mean, one, are you tired now answering questions about your pants?
I think it's fair to say that, yeah. But it's all good stuff.
And secondly, when the team is starting to stall, maybe like in field goal range, does everybody else on the sideline just kind of leave you to your process, or are they like dabbing you up and hyping you up? Like what's the vibe like when it's almost field goal time?
I'll have guys come up to me and kind of just look at me and like just give me a little head nod, and then they know what the deal is. You know, I tell them, you know, it's not a thing until you make it a thing. You know, there's nothing going on in my head except just if I get an opportunity, great. You know, I know what I can do with my opportunity. If not, you know, somebody else is going to go make a play. And if we're too far out, you know, I know Grayson's going to make a play and pin him inside the 10. So it's just, you know, how much that we value playing complementary football and just operating at that level. You know, that's where we're at.
Let's go back to the third row, Cliff.
Yeah, Cliff Brunt, Associated Press. So a lot of times with kickers and punters, they're kind of off to the side a little bit compared to the rest of the team.
Mm-hmm.
But Coach has talked consistently about how you've been a leader for the team overall. Why is that important to you, and how intentional have you been in terms of being a part of the whole team and carrying on that role?
I've always been like, you know, everyone would tell me like in my old school, oh, you're not like a normal kicker or whatever. I was like, well, you know, I'm just a football guy. Like I enjoy this stuff. You know, I'm not trying to be somebody that I'm not. I just enjoy, you know, getting the guys going because, you know, I need them to have my back. I know they do, but, you know, the way that they do it here, it makes it a lot easier for me because, you know, I don't have, you know, a rope around my neck. You know, I can operate freely with no weight on my shoulders.
Okay, let's stay in the third row, James.
James Hale, OKC Sports Radio. I'm curious about your relationship with your holder. I mean, he's the backup punter, he's starting punter at the beginning of the year, and he got hurt. Talk about that relationship. They've never changed, and you guys seem to be working really well, but how important is that?
It's very important. I can't tell you the amount of reps, because whenever I got in the summer, we were working around the clock to get this thing. And I think the first thing he said to me is, "This is my first time holding lefty." I was like, "Oh, great. Thank you for telling me that." But he's a great guy, and he loves his craft, and he has accepted his role at the highest level he can, which makes my job easier, as well as Ben. We're all three very invested in being the best we can be, and when like-minded people are surrounded by like-minded people, it tends to be a lot easier. There's no friction or stuff like that. We'll have our off days, but we'll be there. We'll be back ready tomorrow, ready to work, and that's kind of mentality. It's made things a lot smoother.
Back in the second row, Brian.
Brent Venables, just on a side, you've got another year left. Are you coming back next year? Is that a decision that you guys are going to make after the season? Have you even thought about that?
Not really. I'm kind of just focused on, playing Alabama on Friday, but all those questions will be talked about with all my guys after this season.
Any more questions? All right, thank you, Tate. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.